Welcome to the Ayer Public Information Session on the TIF agreement for Catania Oils. My name is Robert Pomprian, the Ayer Town Manager. This is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. This is an open session remote participation meeting. Due to the ongoing pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This evening's forum will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on the town's Zoom platform. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or at 978-772-8220 prior to the meeting. And though this is a public information forum and not necessarily a meeting of an elected body, I do want to point out that the Ayer Select Board is posted in accordance with the open meeting law to participate in the forum this evening for the purposes of listening or any questions. Obviously, the Select Board will not be deliberating or make any decisions. So just for the record, they are posted to participate. So with those particulars out of the way, I just wanted to take a brief moment again to welcome everybody this evening to this public forum. We're going to have some presentations rich in information, and then at the conclusion of the presentations, obviously we want to open it up to questions from the public. So during the presentations, we'd ask that everybody, except for the presenters, of course, mute their audio so everybody can hear. When we conclude the presentations, we'll open it up to questions, which I'll facilitate. I will ask folks, to either just raise their hand, state their name, ask the question. Also, if folks are comfortable using the chat function on Zoom, as the presentation is going, if you have a question, we'll be monitoring the chat piece, and then we'll, when we get to the questions, address that as well. So before I turn it over, again, the purpose of this forum tonight is to provide the public with information regarding Article 26, which will appear on the annual town meeting scheduled for Monday, April 26th at 7 p.m. in the auditorium of the Ayer Shirley Regional High School. And there will also be a brief presentation that night as well. And Article 26 asks town meeting to approve a TIF or tax increment finance agreement, which we'll talk about in the presentation for Catania Oils. And we'll get into all of that information tonight. And the company was gracious enough to do this public information forum so we can get your questions answered and get more information out there. Lastly, for the public's benefit, on the town's website, if you go to www.ayer.ma.us/town meeting, you'll come to a screen that has the town meeting warrant, the budget, and it also has the articles that have supporting information. And if you look on there under Article 26, you'll find links to a bunch of the supporting materials to this TIF agreement. And also this video will be posting to that site as well. So I think just lastly, before I turn it over, just for the public's benefit as far as the process with a tax increment finance agreement, is the Catania Oils approached the town in the beginning of 2021 regarding their expansion, which we'll get into, and their intention to look for to request a TIF for their expansion component. They met with the Ayer Select Board and made a detailed presentation. The Select Board authorized myself, the town assessor, Mr. Tom Hogan, the Director of Economic Development, Alan Minoyan, and Ms. Antonellis, the Assistant Town Manager, to negotiate terms of a TIF for the board's consideration with the company, which we did do. And on March 16th, the select board did vote to agree to the terms of the TIF agreement. Now, with that being said, the town, that's subject to town meeting approval by a simple majority vote. So the next step will be town meeting on April 26th of 2021 at 7 p.m. And then after, if town meeting approves the TIF, then it goes to the state certification process. So I just wanted to give a little sort of timeline that got us up to tonight. So without further ado, I want to introduce Ms. Lynn Tokarczyk. She's the TIF consultant, expert for the company, and she's from Business Development Strategies. And I'm going to turn it over to her to introduce her team and start the presentation.
Great. Thank you so much, Robert. And first of all, I'd really like to welcome our team, the Catania Oils team. With us this evening, we have Tony Basile. Tony, if you could raise your hand, great. Tony is the CEO of the company. Then we have Joe Basile, who's the president of the company. Mike Kutu, the CFO of Catania Oils. So that is the team with you this evening. And I'd really like to thank all of you, all of the residents, local officials for joining us here this evening. And thank you, Robert, again, for all your support and all your efforts to attract Catania Oils expansion, this great expansion project in Ayer, and to Carly Antonellis. She has been a breath of fresh air. She is so great to work with and so helpful. So thank you, Carly, for all of your guidance, and to the rest of the TIF team, to Alan Manoyan and to Tom Hogan as well. They've been extremely helpful, and thank you again for your guidance. We were also very pleased when we attended the Ayer Select Board meeting that they did vote unanimously to support this project, as well as we also heard that the Finance Committee did vote to support this project as well. So we are very pleased with that. So we do have a slide presentation, but before that, we have a video that we'd like to present that was actually featured on Channel 5, Made in Massachusetts. So to Cindy Knox, if you could roll the video, that would be great. Thank you. No sound.
Bear with us just one moment.
The bulk side of the business.
Signs of family
Can you hear that?
are everywhere.
These basically hold about 24,000 gallons of oil each.
Huge storage containers are named for family members. Giuseppe's original dented tanks proudly on display next to Joseph's fedora. And despite the family-friendly feel, this is serious business.
They're selling well over 1 million gallons a week through this building.
Rail cars deliver oils from all over the globe directly to this plant.
This is a big snapshot of kind of what's outside.
Rigorous on-site testing ensures quality of the product before it's given the okay.
What happens if you get a bad batch? It gets rejected. So this basically is our filler operation right here.
Catania also develops and bottles their own blends.
75% canola oil with 25% extra virgin olive oil.
Whether by the case or container truck,
These tanks basically hold about 6,500 gallons worth of oil. And we make multiple deliveries, throughout the regular marketplace.
Catania oils are being used in the making of all kinds of food products. It's a full-service, well-oiled machine at every point in this manufacturing process. You make these bottles here?
We do.
You heard Joe right. Even down to the plastic bottles themselves are made on the premises.
So it goes from this into making a bottle. Yes.
Getting back to the idea of family, Every child of the Basile family is actually baptized with the company's olive oil, but Joe insists, and he jokes, there's no pressure for the kids to join the business when they get older. I'm Doug Meehan, WCVB News Center 5.
This oceanside Verbo is about to become.
Okay. All right. That was great. We missed
For an
of it.
unforgettable vacation memory.
Hold. Okay. Go ahead,
Okay.
Lynn.
All right. So hopefully you got a good idea of what the company is doing. It was so great. They were very proud to be featured on Channel 5 with Doug Meehan. So now, Cindy, if you could turn to the slide presentation, that would be great. And I'll turn it over to Joe Basile.
Great, thank you. Sydney, if you wouldn't mind just going to slide 2, that'd be great.
It's not moving. Oh, there we go.
Perfect. So, thank you. And, hopefully the video gave you a little bit of a better understanding of, what we do. I know in this type of format, through Zoom and with COVID, internet connections are a little bit, choppy. Maybe Lynn, we can provide that link through the chat feature if anybody wanted to go back and see the full video. I think a lot of times you may drive around and you drive by businesses in your community and you never really can understand or appreciate what happens inside these buildings unless you've really been inside. And I'm thinking, many of you have probably driven by our facilities, countless times. And, hopefully watching this video gives you a little bit of a better understanding of what we actually do. And, certainly want to reiterate, some of the items that were mentioned in this video as we go through this presentation. Certainly we are a 4th generation family owned and operated business that was founded in 1900 by my great-grandfather, Giuseppe Basile, who left Sicily in search of the American dream. We've been located at Nemco Way since 1994. And, I remember our business relocating from Somerville to Ayer. I was 16 at the time. My son is 16 now. He just got his license. And, at that point in time, I was working in the plant. I was running the business from the bottom up. My father's generation, they came here to Ayer with 35 employees, and they had a vision and a passion to carry on the family business that was entrusted to them by their father. This community certainly welcomed us with open arms, and we've enjoyed a wonderful, mutual, beneficial partnership over the last 25 years. From my observations, there's been a tremendous amount of growth and positive change in the town of Ayer over these years, and we're certainly blessed to be part of that growth, and we're very proud to be one of the largest manufacturers in Ayer today. It's important to my family that we are good corporate citizens here in town. We greatly appreciate the partnership that we've formed with local town leaders and residents over the years. Today, we sell a wide range of plant-based oils, products like soybean oil, canola, sunflower, non-GMO products, organic, olive oils, and the list kind of goes, on and on. And you wouldn't think there'd be that many type of oils in our business. This is through 3 distinct sales channels, which are food service, retail, and then bulk ingredients. Sydney, if you can go to the next slide, please.
A little bit of a lag here.
No worries. So I'll start talking. And hopefully you're familiar with some of our brands at retail, specifically La Spagnola and Marconi, which is mainly sold in market basket stores and some independent stores throughout New England. This picture is a representation of some of our brand products. Our retail brand business is a pretty small part of overall business today at retail. These days, most of our retail volume is really compromised by bottle and private labels for regional and national chains across the country. Next slide, please. As an example, we package vegetable oils for companies like Stop and Shop, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, Market Basket, Anafid. That's just to name a few. Think about it. You can walk into any Whole Foods store across the country. You can buy a bottle of their non-GMO canola oil. And you know what? That was bottled right here in the town of Ayer by Catania Oils. I think that's pretty cool. And there are many more examples of that across our various sales channels. Next slide, please. Our bulk ingredient division is mainly comprised of selling oil in bulk. This may be in a drum, in a tote, or even a tank wagon. This is typically sold to food manufacturers. Our oils are used in many regional and national food brands across this country. You open your refrigerator, your pantry, brands like Gorton's, Stacy's, Utz, Ken's, Terra's, Cedars, and many more use our products. We are all around your kitchen and you don't even know it. Look at the brand Boston Coffee Cake. That's actually owned by Bacon Joy. They have a facility here in Ayer as well. They've been a long-term customer for us for many, many, many years. Next slide, please. We're proud to be one of the largest manufacturers here in Ayer. We also are excited to be talking about a possible plant expansion in town. This will be great for the community. We currently own and occupy 2 buildings on Nemco Way. Number 3 is about 115,000 square foot facility. It's our corporate headquarters as well as it's our distribution facility. Across the street is 1 Nemco Way. That's a 96,000 square foot manufacturing facility, which actually has a rail spur that goes into our facility to receive rail cars of refined oils. Between both of these properties, we pay about $362,000 a year in annual real estate taxes to the town. Due to increased demand and the continued desire to reinvest back into the business to grow, we are looking to expand our operations. We've evaluated many different options, both in and out of state, as well as here in Ayer. And we prefer to invest here, but the cost to do so is very expensive versus any other option. Next slide, please. Our consideration for a plant expansion at 1 Nemco, it is a 51,500 square foot addition that will be located in the back of the property. This total project investment is estimated at about a $14.4 million investment. 6.3 of this is hard and soft construction costs. 2.6 is the infrastructure cost, which is really the site work and the stormwater pretreatment. It is really this part of the project that really came up as a surprise and a significant cost, which is making this project hard to justify. If you're familiar with our property in the back, that's the only space that we have to really put on an addition. We have 2 specific unique challenges. One is dealing with the slope of the property, which requires a considerable amount of fill and site work. And that's really to bring it up to floor grade of the existing plant. Secondly, we have a retention pond in our way. This retention pond handles a considerable amount of storm water from Mulberry Circle, as well as our own property. In order to properly handle and pre-treat the stormwater prior to discharging to the town, we have to install a large piping system underground in the front of the building. And this is in place of the stormwater retention pond. Both of these are attributing to higher cost of construction. And then lastly, we have planned about $5.5 million in personal property investments once the addition is actually completed. This combined investment, this would be the single largest investment that we've ever made. This addition was completed, it would create additional tax revenue to the town, as well as many new jobs. Next slide, please. We currently have 160 full-time jobs in Ayer, and this investment will create an additional 30 permanent full-time jobs over a 5-year period. These jobs will be open to qualified Ayer residents, which include production, warehousing, engineering, quality control, and office, to name a few. These jobs will have competitive salaries plus benefits, and we'll also have a tuition reimbursement program for our employees. Next slide. Because we've been here in the town for more than 25 years, we think locally since we are a family business. Our employees shop locally before, during, and after work, which is a benefit to the many businesses here in town. We are frequent customers of Verona Pizza, The Cottage, and Lucia's, to name a few. All of our snow removal is handled by our neighbor, JP Iwa, and we're also a regular at Moore's Lumber. As a result of this project and increased employment, many local businesses will benefit and the town will enjoy increased real estate, excise, and meal tax. Next, please. As I said earlier, it's important for us to be a good corporate citizen and give back to the community. We are always open to receive feedback from town leaders as well as residents. We work very hard and hold ourselves to a very high standard in that regard. We have demonstrated this as we've worked hard and we work hand in hand with the town to improve the corner of Westwood Road and Nemco Way. And recently we created a transportation program for truck routing. We support many local programs and organizations throughout the year. Our social committee is responsible for organizing our outreach program for our employees. And this is to volunteer and give back to the local community. We've been very active over the years by supporting the police and fire departments. We have several employees that have been part of the Ayer Cleanup Day. For several years, we've been a premier sponsor at the Ayer Holiday Lights program. And this past, Christmas, we purchased over 160 8-pound prime rib roasts. We gave every employee one of those. Matter of fact, we actually had extras, and we reached out to the fire department and donated one to the firefighters who, were working away from their families on Christmas. We've been very involved with Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry for several years, whether it's hosted an employee food drive or donating our products to keep their shelf stocked with cooking oils. We always look for opportunities to participate in local job fairs. Prior to COVID, we hosted over a dozen of the Ayer Shirley Regional High School students who had an interest in manufacturing. They were able to tour our facility and ask questions with our personnel. Recently, in conjunction with Mount Wachusett Community College, we started an apprentice program for maintenance mechanics. We've been a member of the Neshoba Valley Chamber of Commerce, and recently our VP of HR joined as a member of the North Central Workforce Board. Last month, we held a sock drive for United Way of North Central Mass, and last week we made that delivery. We delivered over 1,000 socks that were donated by our employees. And then, lastly, for over 30 years, my family has hosted an annual golf tournament in memory of my Uncle Joe, who passed away from leukemia, and those proceeds go to a Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. We have donated just under $1 million since this tournament started. If it wasn't for COVID, we would have had our event last year and would have been over that mark. But don't you worry, this year we're going to have an event and we're going to cross that mark. One of our core values is we are family, and this value certainly extends into our community. I want you to know that you can count on us, and we will continue to offer our support to our extended family. Thank you. That's all I got. Back to Lynn.
Next slide, please. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the tax incentives as well as the particular program. And then after I review the slide, I'll turn it over to Robert Pompriant. But as Joe mentioned, the company is a very active member with the Neshoba Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I'd like to recognize that Melissa Federhoff, the president and CEO of the chamber, is joining us this evening. So thank you so much, Melissa. Melissa has been very instrumental with recruiting and attracting businesses in the region. So thanks again, Melissa, for joining us. So just wanted to give you a snapshot of this particular tax incentive program. The TIF, as you know, tax increment financing, is a tool, an economic development tool under the state's Massachusetts Economic Development Incentive Program. And the town has participated in this program really since the early 90s, the mid 90s through 2017. The last TIF project that the town approved was in 2017. And so essentially the TIF applies only to the new construction project, which is again an estimated 51,500 square feet on One Nemco Way. The town will continue to collect full taxes at One Nemco Way on their current facility. So essentially, a TIF is a discount on future taxes, where the town, again, continues to receive 100% of the existing taxes. And again, it's a discount on future taxes, and that's based on the projected new assessed value, new taxes. And so as you will see on the next slide, which we're not quite ready for yet, the TIF term. But the program criteria for this particular economic development incentive program project is that there must be job creation. So that is a requirement under the program. There must be a private real estate investment, which there is an estimated $14.4 million, which equals new tax revenue. And a TIF can be a minimum of 5 years, a maximum of 20 years, in any year, a minimum percentage of 1% or a maximum percentage of 100%. And so for this particular TIF, again, this would be the largest expansion that the company has considered that they would actually move forward with. So it would be the largest for the company, as was mentioned earlier. And the company has expanded several times over the years, and this would be their first TIF request. So they've never asked for a TIF in the past. So with that, the next slide, please. And Robert is going to explain this particular slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. So as you see on this slide here, this is the TIF proposal that was negotiated between my team, which again was myself, the Assistant Town Manager, Carly Antonellis, Tom Hogan, the Assessing Administrator, and Alan Manoyan, the Director of Economic and Community Development. We met with Lynn and her team over a series of sessions to negotiate, if you will, the terms of the TIF. And so the first is it is a 10-year agreement. And as Lynn had mentioned, TIFs can be 20 years in different increments. We came to agreement on a 10-year agreement. And then you see these numbers, 95, 85, 80, 75, going down to 20. And think of this as the, if you will, this is the exemption scale for each year. So year one of the agreement, 95% of the taxes, and as Lynn mentioned, it's important to note this is only on the expansion piece of the project. There'd be a 95% exemption. And then in year two, 85% of those taxes, then 80, and going all the way down to 20% in the final year or the 10th year of the agreement. The current real estate tax revenue to Ayer, as you can see on the screen, is a $2,042,370. The estimated new net real estate tax revenue is $579,237. So the estimated tax revenue to Ayer overall would be about $2.6 million. And as you can see on the bottom, the company TIF tax savings over the total 10-year period would be $783,673. So that would be over the 10-year period, the total amount of tax exemption on just the new expansion of the project. And so what town meeting is going to be asked to do, the select board did approve these terms on March 16th at their meeting, subject to approval by town meeting. And so town meeting under Article 26 on April 26th, when we get there, and there'll be a briefer presentation at town meeting on the TIF specifically, is being asked to ratify the TIF agreement. So if a yes vote, a simple majority would approve the TIF, at which point it then goes to the state for certification. The town has completed its part with the town meeting. And then after certified by the state, then the TIF would go into effect. And I think an important thing that folks have asked, in addition to retaining the 160 jobs, as you saw earlier, they're projected to create 30 new full-time jobs over the life of the agreement. And the company is required by law annually to submit a report to the state and so forth. So that's sort of, if you will, the monitoring piece on the state side for compliance with the company. So again, the estimated savings over the life of the agreement would be $783,673 on the new expansion, and that's over a 10-year period. And we felt on the town end in presenting this that it was an equitable term, meaning 10 years was a reasonable term. The scale that you see going from 95 down to 20 was actually the town's proposal. There's different ways to do that, and presented that to the select board that did agree. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. Lynn, did I miss anything?
No, that was very precise.
Yes. So at this time, we'd like to open it up to any questions that the public may have or comments. We ask you to whether just raise your hand, and I'll just identify yourself and ask your question. And then between Lynn's team or the town's team, I'd be happy to answer your question or comment. And then we'll have some concluding comments at the end. So are there any, and lastly, if you're not comfortable asking a question, please feel free to use the chat function and we'll get your answer as well. So are there any, we'll open it up. Are there any questions from the public? Okay, we actually have a question coming up on the chat, and it's actually from Mr. Lou Conrad, who is a member of the Air Finance Committee. And the question is, what impact, if any, would this proposed project have on the town's infrastructure? What would be the estimated costs, if any, to the town for infrastructure improvements? Any? So I'll to Mr. Conrad's question, a couple things. Obviously, Catania Oils is also a huge customer of the town of Ayer in terms of water and wastewater. So this expansion has been factored in by the Department of Public Works as far as water and sewer capacity is within the town's capacity realm there. Obviously, any increased use of water or sewer for any large company such as Catania does benefit the town in the sense that they obviously pay for water and sewer and at a higher rate than a residential rate. Additionally, they're located on Nemco Way. Many of you have probably been by there on Westford Road. The company, even prior to the expansion, has done a great job with the landscaping of their current facility. We saw some pictures of it in the curb appeal to the facility. This expansion will also help, which the town is pleased with, will also help mediate and correct truck traffic on Nemco Way, because with the expansion, the truck traffic will be going over onto the other side. And I appreciate Catania Oils working with our police department and DPW and residents to come up with a safe solution on the Nemco situation. And this expansion would help in that sense. So that sort of give a snapshot as far as to Mr. Conrad's question sort of about potential impacts. Again, to conclude, any water sewer would be within capacity. They would pay for, and I see Joe may want to add to that.
Yep, I can certainly add to that too, relative to the water in sewer. We actually submitted a letter yesterday to the Air Planning Board in response to some of the conversations with the DPW, and I will read a particular paragraph that relates to that. Catania does not anticipate any significant use of water or increase in generation of wastewater as compared to operations in the current footprint. As an example, it is estimated that Catania uses approximately 5,000 gallons per day of water in our facility, and that's approximately 0.05 gallons per square foot per day. The building addition at the same rate of use would increase consumption to approximately 7,600 gallons per day. Catania does not anticipate exceeding that, as the addition will largely be used for the installation of additional manufacturing machines and conveyor systems. Wastewater generation will be similar makeup, and Catania does not anticipate a significant increase with the building addition. So that specifically covers the water and sewer piece of that.
Okay, and Mr. Conrad says, thank you. Okay, other questions or comments from the public? Going once, going twice. Okay. All right, seeing that there aren't any other questions, Lynn, in your team, did you have any concluding remarks? I had a couple of concluding points, but anything that you wanted to touch upon before we conclude?
No, I would just thank everyone that's joined us listening in, again, to thank them, and hopefully they'll be attending town meeting and supporting Article number 26. Thank you for their consideration.
Great. Okay, so to sort of conclude in terms of next steps, so the next step after tonight obviously is the town meeting, Monday, April 26th at 7 p.m. in the Ayer Shirley Regional High School. It is in person, as state law requires town meeting to be in person. We have a whole system of COVID-19 safety protocols that we have put in place for the last 2 town meetings, which has been very successful to ensure everybody's safety and comfort. Residents will be receiving the town meeting warrant by mail very shortly. It's been printed and it is on its way to the post office. It's also posted on the town's website. It was posted as of last Friday. And if there are any questions on the warrant, this is Article 26, which is the tax increment finance agreement for Catania Oils. Will be Article 26. It will be read, moved, and seconded at town meeting, and we will have a brief presentation and open it up to any questions at town meeting. Town meeting, the vote threshold is a simple majority, and if it passes, then it will go off to the state for certification. Lastly, as I mentioned in the beginning, on the town's website, we're going to have, there already are all of the documents related to Article 26 on there. We'll also post this meeting video will be available, and the video that was showed earlier, and I know there was a little bit of some technical challenges there, but we'll have that YouTube link, and I see that it's also on the chat there. And in conclusion, I just want to say, I want to thank Catania Oils and Lynn Tokarczyk for all of their time and expertise, and it has been a pleasure working together. And Catania is a great company, has been invested in the town of Ayer. I've always been a pleasure to work with, have been very supportive. We are excited about their expansion and have been pleased to negotiate this TIF agreement for town meetings consideration. So with that, I think we'll conclude. Lastly, as I always say, if there's any questions related to town meeting or Article 26, or even if you think something about the TIF or the company after tonight happens to everybody, send me an email and we'll get in contact with Lynn and her team and we'll get you the answer. So with that, it's 6:41 p.m. and we're going to conclude. And again, we thank everybody for their time, interest, and expertise tonight.